Hello and welcome back to the Fruit of Grisaia, Sachi's route. In the last episode, Yuuji discovered that Sachi had been in the bath for a very long time. And seeing as she had not done her own laundry yet, he figured that something was wrong. He then went to the bathroom and found Sachi partly unconscious, counting up to 10,000 because of a gag that she heard from Makine and then took serious. Let's continue. It's pretty common to hear something or other described as a microcosm of society. In particular, school is a highly popular choice. It's practically a cliché that you can judge the health of a country by the conditions of its classrooms. Declining academic performance, drug abuse, all the way up to violent juvenile crime. You can interpret pretty much any schoolyard problem as a reflection of societal decay if you want to. But even as someone who tends to look on such arguments with skepticism, it's clear to me that the malign influence of our national slide into depravity has begun to rear its ugly head in this isolated academy of ours. Whack! Jan! That's right, yell for me. Let me hear you squeal. Yeah, that ice cold tone, these firm smacks on the bum, they're gonna make me into a naughty girl. First thing in the morning, a completely random spanking show is unfolding before my eyes. One can only grieve for the future of our nation. Curious to see how the others are reacting to this shameful display, I look around the classroom to find... a grimacing observer, her face all but saying, "Gah, I thought those two were getting into some weird territory lately, but this is taking things to a whole new level of awkward." A casual observer, humming to herself as she prepares for class, who glances over briefly with an expression that reads, "Ah, so that's today's game." And finally, an observer who feigns total disinterest even as she peeps past the book in front of her to take in every moment of the show. An intriguing, colorful range of variation. Perhaps one could interpret this as necessary stimulation to a stagnant group dynamic? Don't be freaking ridiculous. What kind of school will let a freak show like this go on in the classroom? Well... the one we're standing in. Yes, very funny. Joke time is over. Got the message? Hurry up and stop them. Pushed forward by Michiru, I reluctantly initiate an intervention with the pair of girls on the teacher's platform. Sachi, mind explaining this? Certainly. I'm currently giving Maki-chan a good spanking. Yes, I can see that. I'm asking you why you felt the need to do so. That would be because Maki-chan asked me for one. Makine asked for this? That's correct. She requested it specifically last night, you see. Ah. Right. When Sachi came to her senses in Amana's room. Okay, get better soon. Get better soon, you can give me a good spanking, alright? I'll be waiting. Yeah, alright. And Sachi is not really capable of recognizing that as a joke. I had an ominous premonition the moment I heard the sad sentence, but you really did go through with it, in public even. Yes, I made a promise after all. Maybe it felt that way to Sachi, but somehow I doubt Makine was taking it quite that seriously. But just a plain old spanking would be boring, so I made up a little plot and turned it into a bit of role-playing game, you know? A plot? That's right, we're a couple that's been living together for a year and has fallen into a rut before getting totally hooked on soft S&M. Soft? Pipe down, Peanut Gallery. If you're interested, look it up on the internet in your own time. I most certainly will not. A denial this unconvincing is a rare thing in its own right. Hey, slow down. What's all this about a promise last night? Did something happen? It'd take a while to explain it in full, but I'm sure a wise young woman like yourself would already have a rough idea of what occurred, right? What? Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's me we're talking about here. Of course I do. So easy to handle. Very impressive, Michiru-sama. Is it? Am I really that amazing? Yes, in a bad way. In a bad way? Wait, are you actually complimenting me here or what? I said you're amazing, did I not? For better or worse, I believe you are an exceptional individual. Oh, now I get it. Well, she's not lying, I guess. If you say so. Even when I'm not trying, my brilliance oozes out in great gooey globs of genius. Keep it up, me! Yeah, I think that amazing might be a good word to describe this aspect of Michiru. If you say so. Well, to get back to the point, I can't say I approve of putting on an early morning spanking show in the classroom. Oh, so if we do it at night with the night lights turned off, it's all good? Your choice of lightning isn't the problem here. First and foremost, that's not the sort of thing you brazenly do in school now, is it? Actually, depending on the scenario. You're going to make this a lot more complicated than it needs to be. Let's skip that particular discussion. Understood. In summary, that game is off limits from now on. My mind understands, but my heart just can't accept this. What a complicated feeling. Is this bittersweet taste of forbidden love? You too, Sachi. Let's call an end to the spanking session, alright? Certainly. As Amada drags Makina away by the scruff of her neck, Sachi heads obediently back to her seat, a satisfied expression on her face. Makina is clearly responsible for turning her spanking into some kind of public humiliation show, but I'm pretty sure Sachi was the one who brought up the topic in the first place. Dutifully remembering a favor that otherwise might have well been forgotten, she proactively carried it out with genuine enthusiasm. On the abstract level, Sachi sounds like a model class representative, but when you consider the specific details, it's hard to shake the feeling that something stranger is lurking behind her behavior. Might be worth seeing what the higher-ups have to say about this. After polishing off my simple lunch of homemade rice balls, I head to the principal's office. Having a productive day? Did your wakasaki cakes complement the tea? Today was the jelly roll day. Since she answered my valiant attempt at small talk with a smile, Chizuru seems to be reasonably receptive to my sudden visit. Well then, what do you want from me? I assume you didn't come all the way over here just to give me sass. Right, I've got a question for you as the principal of this academy, Chizuru. What would that be? I want to ask you something about our class representative, Komine Sachi, that is. That's clear enough, but I have to admit I'm a little surprised you'd ask about Komine-san. What's that supposed to mean? It doesn't mean anything, really. Just my honest thoughts. Alright then. So, why ask about Komine-san all of a sudden? We had a bit of an incident yesterday. Sachi stayed in a hot bath long enough that she actually fainted. And that was instigated by nothing more than an offhand comment from Makina about counting to 1 to 10,000 in the bath. I see. You don't seem particularly surprised. Is this sort of behavior a recent development, or have you seen something of this sort before? Let's see. Nothing too bad ever came of it, but there have been several occasions where she gave me a real fright. I suppose the single biggest shock would be the time she tried to wash the outer wall of the school building during our end-of-term cleanup by dangling from the roof on a single rope. Come to think of it, I remember someone telling me about that one. Nothing serious came of that? Fortunately, no. Once I shouted that we had contractors coming to take care of that, she pulled herself right back up and came inside. I see. Despite all the strange ideas she gets in her head, it does seem that Sachi consistently listens to reason. That's a silver lining to be sure. Well then, now that you asked me this, what are you planning to do about it? At the moment, I don't intend to do anything in particular. If anything, I suppose my short-term objective was just to confirm how much of the principal of this school really knows about her pupils. Ah, is that what this is about? Well, I don't think you need to be too concerned about that. I don't? Nope. After all, you're talking to a person who managed to get in touch with you after nothing more than a single meeting on the job, aren't you? True enough. Somehow or other, the woman I'm speaking with has been entrusted with the control of Mihamar Academy as an organization. I suppose it's only natural that she'd be thoroughly familiar with the quirks of the handful students under her supervision. Are you convinced that I'm not utterly clueless now? Yeah, I once again realized that you're a fine woman. How very nice to hear. Smoothly switching her crossed legs, Chizuru offers me a prototypical composed older woman's smile. But anyway, since you did go out of your way to come ask me, if you're curious about Komine-san, I'm willing to disclose the extent of what I know. No, that won't be necessary. Why not? Learning more about her would only make your life here easier, don't you think? Probably true, but this isn't a job and I don't have any pressing need to know. And there aren't many people who go asking a teacher for information on a classmate, are there? A classmate, huh? Look, it still feels kind of awkward, but I'm making a conscious effort to talk about things like a normal student. Try not to laugh. You're right. Sorry about that. But in any case, I think talking yourself into it like that isn't a bad approach at all. Hope you're right. In between stretches of peace, I plunge into the extraordinary. In between periods where I devote my attention to my part-time job, I return to the ordinary. As that ratio has slowly shifted, I've developed a persistent, nagging discomfort with myself. And there's part of me that doesn't even want that to change. A part of me that's uneasy about getting too used to this. Not to repeat myself, but now that you become a student here, I don't expect anything specific of you. Live as a normal student, exactly as you please, exactly as you hoped. Enjoy your life here. That'll be enough to satisfy me. If you actually mean that, you got a pretty eccentric taste in entertainment. I think you'll understand when you get to be my age, but once you get your hands on some money and status, finding new ways to relax gets to be quite a challenge. Judging from the steadily increasing quantity of knickknacks in this office, I guess I can't believe it. Come on, there aren't as many as all that. Even as she speaks, the principal stealthily palms a few desk toys and drops them into a drawer. The instinctive sneakiness might have something to do with how she clawed her way up the ladder. All right, I think it's about time I hit it back. Yes, I suppose so. Well, do try to make good use of your own free time, Kasami-kun. I've already eaten lunch, if that's what you're worried about. I'm not talking about your lunch period in particular, but rather your free time in general. What's that supposed to mean? It means that I'm not the only one who could use a little relaxation every once in a while. The principal winks suggestively as she speaks. Unfortunately, I don't quite follow. What does the woman want me to do? True enough. In that case, I'll kill some time trying to guess your age, Chizuru. Hey. I'm definitely younger than you're thinking. Guaranteed. I retract any previous compliments I may have given you. When I return to the classroom, Sachi's eating her lunch by herself. For once, she's actually spread out a proper lunchbox. A rare sight indeed. From what I've seen, Sachi almost always goes for light, efficient meals. A lunchbox today, huh? Ah, yes, I had some leftovers for breakfast that I didn't want to go to waste. I see. For a leftovers lunch, it's a pretty decent spread. At a glance, she's got omelette with Vienna sausages, mini tomatoes and broccoli. A colorful and well-balanced assortment. Doesn't exactly have the master housewife impression of an Amani meal, but it's fair to call it a nicely made lunch. You did cook at Michiru's request the other day, come to think of it. Are you actually something of a chef? I wouldn't say that. I can't begin to compare to the likes of Amane-san. At most, I suppose I can manage respectively when given a clear example to work from. As if to demonstrate, Sachi pulls a cookbook out of her desk and flips it open to a photograph of an omelette. It's strikingly similar to the one in her lunchbox. No need to be modest. Making it look exactly like the book is impressive in its own right. Thank you very much. Incidentally, were you able to clear your name in regard to sneaking into the music room and playing Amane-san's flute? What? When a male student heads off for a secretive one-on-one meeting with the principal, I believe the topic of discussion is usually something along those lines, yes? What is it with you, Sachi? Your thoughts always run off in these unique directions. That's a rather mixed evaluation. In the first place, why would I be after Amane's spit? Once the conversation comes to a pause, Sachi smoothly returns to her lunch, carrying food to her mouth with the regular rhythm of a workman on an assembly line. As I'm watching her oddly mechanical behavior, the principal's words flit across my mind. Hey, Sachi. Yes? What can I do for you? First of all, you can chew and swallow what you got in your mouth before trying to talk. Certainly. With a small nod, Sachi wholeheartedly devotes her attention to mastication for a few moments. Thank you for your patience. Was there something you wanted to discuss, Kasami-san? Yeah, I was wondering if you have some sort of regular method of letting off steam. You know, managing your stress. Stress relief, is it? Unfortunately, I don't think I can be much help in such matters. Why not? Well, because I can't say I've felt anything like stress since entering the school. That's honestly pretty hard to swallow, but judging from Sachi's expression, I don't think she's outright lying to me. They do say that in America, where they don't really have the concept of stiff shoulders, nobody complains of the symptoms. Maybe this is a similar case? That being the case, I think it might be better to bring your inquiry to Michiru-sama. So what? Does Michiru have some daily stress relief method? I believe she does. For example, just the other day. Sachi! 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 Ah, Michiru-sama, why are you hiding behind the sofa like that? Shh! Mum's the word! Keep follow me to my room. Okay, so far so good. Doesn't look like we were spotted. Sorry for dragging you all along all of a sudden, Sachi. Why aren't you saying anything? Is this some sort of religious thing? Then why... Oh, I get it. You don't have to keep quiet anymore. Understood. Seriously? Well then, did you need me for something? Okay. If you got a decently sized stuffed animal lying around that you don't mind giving up, I could really use one. If you don't need any specific variety, I have a few. That's my Sachi. Okay, then pick one and bring it over. Certainly. Personally, this bunny rabbit would be my recommendation. Yeah, that's a cute one. Oh, also, do you have a magic marker or something? Yes, here you are. Thanks! Okay, so now I just need to write on his forehead. Yuuji. Okay, perfect. I see. You plan to snuggle up to your stuffed animal, Kasami-san, and envelop yourself in illusory warmth. That's not it at all. This thing is... yeah, it's a sandbag, okay? A sandbag? That's right. I'm going to picture this stuffed animal as Yuuji and beat the heck out of it until I'm ready to hit him where it hurts at any time. It'll help my stress too. Nue! Oh, hey! Hey! Is that so? I believe it went something like that. The hell's wrong with that bottle blonde? Well, if you'd like to return the favor, I could provide you with a matching bunny rabbit. No, that won't be necessary. I see. Although it's a little sad to say this myself, dropping a fancy stuffed animal in the middle of a dreary room of mine would be painfully awkward. And the idea of having a matching set of anything with Michiru is somehow even less appealing. Anyway, something came to mind while I was listening to all of this. If you really don't relax, what do you do with your free time? Fundamentally, I try not to leave myself much in the way of free time. In other words, you're like a shark, always moving when at rest. No, I rest in my bed in the typical manner of a modern human being. I think it would likely be easier to understand through observation rather than explanation. Well, probably so. I'm certainly willing to demonstrate as early as today if you're interested. So, what, you're telling me to follow you around from morning to night? I think it would be after school until bedtime, but more or less. From what I understand, Sachi's proposal isn't problematic in terms of the school's rules, but I'm a little hesitant to peep into her private life out of a mere curiosity. I don't mind in the slightest. Read my mind, huh? Alright, how about after class ends tomorrow? Certainly. In that case, I'll make sure to clean myself thoroughly in preparation. What are you preparing for exactly? After school tomorrow, huh? Things have taken a somewhat strange turn, but I can't deny I've gotten slightly curious about about Sachi's way of life. Should be an interesting experience, if nothing else. A distinctively droning sound striking out of place in this quiet coastal town. Guess I've got a visitor. As expected, when I head out to the school gate, a genuine blonde emerges from the interior of her prancing horse. Whoa, whoa! Oh, that's slightly risque there, JB. Hi, Yuuji. How's kicks? Not bad as of 3 minutes ago. Unfortunately, my mood just took a nosedive. Oh, come on. Is that really the first thing you say to a woman who bravely sallied forth to see you in her own initiative? If I was really dealing with a woman, maybe I'd be a little more careful with my words, but I was taught to be frank and to the point with my superiors. Jeez, as always, you can't take a joke for what it is. It's your fault for putting on that ridiculous marble-mouthed airhead act in the first place. Well, I do know that you have a hard time with women like this, yes. Which makes the way you always pretend to be one downright sadistic. So, what's with the sudden visit? Any urgent business come up? No, today I'm here for a little progress check, as I'm Yuuji's guardian, you see? What? Work not keeping you busy these days? In a manner of speaking, this is work. Fine, we'll leave it at that. So, experiencing any difficulties? The facility's adequate? Your money situation okay? Any sticky problems you just can't talk about with the girls in your class? The hell? What if I tell you I can't control my libido anymore? You're going to take care of that for me? Well, sure, by giving you so much work that you're too exhausted to feel horny. Sorry, my bad. Yes, indeed it was. Make sure to answer your big sister's questions seriously the first time. I'll see what I can do. And? Seriously, how are you doing here? Seriously, I've got exactly no problems worth mentioning. This place is almost comically well equipped, and my allowance is more than enough for my everyday needs. I see, that's good then. You satisfied now? Well, it's not like I was particularly worried in the first place. I know you'd contact me if necessary. Yeah, that's right. Okay then, anything else you want to talk about? What's anything else supposed to mean? For example, the neighborhood's dog gone missing, or there's someone in your class you're interested in. What have you been thinking about lately? Sorry, but what do you care? No need to overthink this. I'd just like to hear what's on your mind at the moment. After all these years, JB probably knows me better than anyone else alive. I don't think she'd ask me this question for no reason whatsoever. Alright then, let me ask your opinion on something. Shoot. What would you think about someone who's never refused anyone's orders, even once, or turned down a request for that matter? Are we talking about some sort of submission fetish here? No, we're not. I'm asking for your thoughts as my superior on this one. Let's see. JB slowly brings her hand to her chin, and the next instant her eyes grow sharp and serious. It's a familiar sight. I guess you could call it her business face. When JB switches into work mode, she has a habit of putting on that expression like a suit of armor. If someone like that exists, my first thought would be that some sort of training was involved. Thought as much. There's more. The person in question doesn't seem to experience any stress in their daily life. That's quite enviable, if true. I'm with you there. But I also think it's entirely possible they're simply not aware of their stress or somehow refusing to acknowledge it. Quite likely it's all accumulating somewhere deep inside. Even a casual gesture like scratching your head is a manifestation of stress. It's a fundamental part of human psychology. Exactly. So what happens when that builds up without the person in question even noticing it? I guess you could say I'm slightly concerned. I see. With that non-committal response as a line of demarcation, JB relaxes her face and lets the tension drain out of her body. I did pursue some basic intelligence about this school as part of my guardian duty. As I'm aware, there are some interesting students here, but it seems one of them have managed to pique your curiosity. Yep. When I got a nagging sense of concern like this, it's almost never just me overthinking things. I've got good instincts, if nothing else. That was the reason I confirmed my impressions with Chizuru as well. If I'm not wrong about this, then. But I must say, that's something of a relief. What is? That you'd ask me a question like that, Yuuji. I just tried to give you what you wanted to hear. Even so, a few months ago, would you have come up with anything? Usually I'd expect a nothing worth reporting next question right off the bat. If that was supposed to be an imitation of me, I'd recommend giving up on your dream of becoming a comedian after retirement. Thanks so much for the advice. Anyway, at your age, it's only natural to be interested in girls and fashion and all that, you know? And yet, the questions you bring me always smells of gunpowder rather than cologne. Can't deny it. Right, therefore I'm pretty sure this is a good sign. Okay, that'll about do it for a regular interview. I'll stop by again at some point. Do me a favor and give me a little advance warning next time. It's bad for my heart to have beautiful women popping out of nowhere. Hehe, but wouldn't you miss the thrill? Smirking, JB slides her sunglasses back into place. With smooth, practiced movement of her hand, she steers the prancing horse away from the school. In the blink of an eye, it's disappeared into the distance. That engine never gets any less obnoxious. Out of consideration for our neighbors, maybe I should stuff some potatoes in the muffler next time I have the chance. In any case, JB has a point. If I was still the same person who had impassively devoted himself to the job, I wouldn't have developed this kind of interest in Sachi's personal life. Quite the opposite. I'd be keeping up potential trouble at arm's length. Of course, in this case, my dorm mate's problems might have repercussions for me, but there's definitely a part of this that can't be explained by simple self-interest. Apparently this change in my thinking is dramatic enough to take even JB by surprise. In that sense, I guess the first problem is that I can't even tell why I'm changing. Mashing students of different school years into a single classroom and giving them an identical course of instruction is typically referred to as a combined class system. It's most frequently used in rural elementary schools where low population and limited resources sometimes make it an unavoidable cost-saving measure. Alright, next problem. Sakaki-san, please give this a try. Yes. I guess Mihama might be called an unusual variation of that system. Amane is a year ahead of me, Sachi and Makina a year below, but we're all currently being taught how to solve quadratic functions by factorization. Of course, even in rural areas, they don't tend to squash 3 years into one. You usually come to South Korea to see anything like this. Okay, Komine-san, the next problem is a little tricky, but please give it your best shot. That would be exactly x equal x square... I'm not good with math and English. Brackets x3 minus 1, I believe. Nicely done as always. I can tell you've been keeping up with your studies. Thank you very much. It feels as though Komine-san could answer questions from the top-flight university's entrance exam without even batting an eye. Taking in Sachi's effortless response out of the corner of her eye, Sakaki mumbles words of admiration. I think I just had another revelation. What? You forgot to turn off your Sundara training machine after the morning Sund exercises? That's not it. Although I'd totally buy that machine if it really existed. Seriously? Okay, so what did you realize? Is it just me or has Sachi never messed up a question from the teacher either? Come to think of it, I don't think she has. As of 2 days ago, I probably would have reacted with skepticism at this point, but after what I've learned about Sachi lately, this seems all too plausible. Wait, would that mean she gets perfect scores on all her tests too? No, I'm afraid that's not true. I have received scores other than 100 points, including the most recent test. Ha! In your face, the invincible Sachi is only human after all. Why are you, of all people, boasting about that? Sorry, I just sort of rolled into it. True, Komine-san isn't always perfect, but minor slip-ups account for most of her mistakes. She always very close to full marks. Whoa. I'm truly sorry for getting full of myself. Why am I receiving this heartfelt apology exactly? Well, my guess would be that an instinctive submission ritual. She's come to understand your genes are superior to hers, you know. Oh, is that so? But personally, this is still a little bit disappointing in a way. What? That Sachi's grades aren't always perfect? Yep, at this point I sort of wanted to see Sachi stay unblemished, you know? An internal beacon of untouched purity. Okay, that analogy is a little more than creepy. I'm afraid I don't quite follow any of this. I do apologize. No, you don't need to apologize. You might not be perfect, but you're a heck of a lot closer than I could ever hope to be. From a common sense perspective, it seems completely obvious. No matter how much of a genius you are, or how much time you've spent practicing, it's difficult for any human being to maintain absolute perfection. That said, in Sachi's case, I have this odd feeling that she's only missing questions because nobody asked her to get a perfect score constantly. Yet, am I just overestimating her? But, like Yumika said, it kind of feels like Sachi could handle any questions you throw at her. In fact, I'm fairly sure her streak of correct answers in class hasn't yet been broken. Yes, I believe that is the case since I entered this school at least. Doesn't that kind of make you guys curious? Like, just how hard can you make the questions before Sachi can answer? Well, I can more or less identify with the sentiment. The girl's a curious specimen, to be sure. So, why don't we give it a try? Give it a try for real then? Yeah, let's. But if we're trying to come up with a question that can stop Sachan, at the very least we need somebody even smarter than her, right? I mean, you could give her a completely impossible problem, but that seems kind of pointless. In that case, Oni-chan would be the man for the job. Ah, good thinking. Despite that sourpuss face of his, Yuuji's got a pretty solid brain. For the record, a sourpuss face have absolutely no relevance to academic results. A man is right. It's a bit irritating to leave this up to you, but I guess we got no choice. Take care of the rest, Yuuji. Sorry, what's that supposed to mean? What, weren't you listening? You've been appointed to the noble position of the guy in charge and coming up with questions to stop Sachi. I guess I don't mind giving her a test, but shouldn't you be asking for her consent before appointing anybody? Well, as far as that goes, I'm perfectly alright with this. Well, I did pretty much expect an answer along these lines. Alright, everything settled? We look forward to your reports. Is there anything we can, if there's anything we can help with, you just let us know, right guys? You betcha, Captain. Alright, I guess. Since a consensus seems to have emerged, I suppose I'll go along with it. No need to struggle against the current. That's nice. Would you mind if I got back to the lesson now? Maybe I shouldn't be saying this to your face, Sachi, but you're seriously a soft touch. There's such a thing as being too cooperative. Is that so? Assigned a strange new responsibility by the whims of my capricious classmates, I'm holding an impromptu rooftop meeting with Sachi to discuss the specifics. Yeah, you just committed yourself to an academic stress test with no real point beyond satisfying our classmates' curiosity if you hadn't noticed. That's certainly true. Although Sachi obediently accepts my words on a superficial level, she doesn't really seem to recognize the situation as inconvenient. Well, if this doesn't bother you, I won't say you're wrong. You are wrong to accept. Yes, not to worry on that front. If anything, I feel rather happy that someone would exhibit interest in a slatternly slave like myself. Where did you pick up that phrase? From the cover of a magazine tucked in the very back of the convenience store periodicals counter. Ah, I see. I've vaguely suspected as much for a while now, but it seems you are a member in good standing of the masochist community, Sachi. I can't say I've ever consciously thought of myself that way, but if you think so, Kasami-san, I'm sure that's the case. Also, even if I'm a masochist, it would make me a perfect match for a super sadist like yourself. When did I get promoted to super sadist exactly? A very interesting question. When Sachi gets like this, it really does feel like you're talking to an enigmatic maid with a deadpan sense of humor. But now that I think about it, that impression is probably misleading. The girl's defining characteristics are her earnest personality and impressive range of skills. She accepts nearly every request that comes her way. She's an excellent student, and from what I've seen, she's respectably athletic as well. In a way, she's a maid she's less a maid and more the ideal personification of an honor student. But she takes it to such an extreme that it's hard to keep yourself from thinking she might be too good to be true. Please try to refrain from undressing me with your eyes like that. It's rather disconcerting. Sorry, can I smack you after all? Allow me to confirm your expectations first. Would struggling feebly and shrieking, "No, you brute," be to your liking? Okay, I think a firm press of the reset button is called for at this point. Let's get back on topic, Sachi. Of course, go right ahead. There's a couple of things I want to ask about before planning out this little experiment. Do you take any specific measures to prepare for teachers asking you to solve a problem in class? Well, I suppose so. Unlike exam questions, the problems in class are very often taken directly from the textbook. As long as I studied the material from beginning to end, I rarely experienced difficulty answering. Certainly true, but studying until you can solve every single problem in the upcoming material usually requires an impractical amount of time and effort. Although she's clearly devoted as well, Sachi must naturally be something of a quick learner. Alright then, what did you do in a situation where you absolutely need someone else's cooperation to fulfill a request? Such as a request to stop Sakaki-san and Michiru-sama from fighting, perhaps? Right, with a mission like that, don't you run into a dead end if they just refuse to listen? In circumstances like those, I'd think about alternative methods within range of flexibility allowed to me. But depending on the nature of the request and specific situation, I think my approach would differ fairly widely. It's rather difficult to answer categorically. I see. I don't really tend to think of Sachi as a flexible thinker, but it seems she does consider her challenges on case-by-case basis. Allow me one question of my own, Kasami-san. You are dropping by my room tonight, yes? Yeah, that was the plan, unless there's a problem on your end. Very well, in that case I'll see you after school. Right. In any case, today I'm going to be directly observing Sachi's private life. That may well provide me with some insight into what makes her the distinctly unusual human being tick. Looks like we're out of time. Okay, that's it for today, class, but do remember we have a closing ceremony tomorrow. Make sure to be on time, everyone. Hey, Sachi! You have any plans tonight? Yes, I was planning to show Kasami-san everything tonight. Huh? What? All of a sudden, 3 of my classmates spring to their feet as one. What? Was there a tremor? Can't say I noticed. It's not a damn earthquake. We're a little surprised by what Sachi just said. Really? But why? Come on, when you talk about showing everything, it sort of sounds, am I right, Amane-san? Yeah, maybe you didn't mean it that way, but it sounds more than a little, right, Sakaki-san? Well, if you two are in an illicit relationship, I suppose that's your own business, but... I see. The precise nature of your collective delusion is now clear to me. But to be perfectly clear, that's not what Sachi meant just now. Yes, that's true. I was simply hoping to offer myself as an outlet for Kasami's stress, nothing more. A stress outlet? Some misunderstanding. You disgust me. The chorus draws a few steps away from me and begins to discuss something in venomous whispers, shooting me scornful glances out of the corner of my eyes. Sorry, Sachi, but please keep your mouth shut until I'm done explaining. Listen up, alright? I'm just dropping by Sachi's room for a visit. The full extent of the plans... That's the full extent of the plan she's talking about. And how did that happen? Apparently, Sachi doesn't believe in giving herself free time. I was kind of dubious, so she volunteered to demonstrate directly what she means. What? Is that all? Once I provide a brief explanation of the circumstances, my 3 interrogators cool down surprisingly easy. Amane's tone suggests she's all but lost interest. Not that I'm complaining, but you're strangely understanding. Well, yeah, because she's done the exact same thing for us. She has? Yeah, I guess it's only natural to wonder about that eventually. Anyway, we're all gonna curious about the same thing as you. So, what's going on behind that curtain? It'll be best to see it with your own eyes. I'd rather doubt you'd be satisfied hearing it from us. In other words, their own version of this field trip must have left a decidedly ambiguous impression. One word of warning. You are visiting a girl's room, so I expect you to be a gentleman, alright? Yeah, I'll make a conscious effort not to disrupt Sachi's private life any more than necessary. That's not quite what I meant, but whatever. Sakaki heaves a small sigh. Magna, who showed absolutely no interest in the conversation until this point, probably sidles over and yanks her sleeve. Load off your mind. What are you talking about? Alright then. Would meeting at the lobby in an hour or so work for you? Yes, that would be just fine. Well, do whatever you want. I could literally not care less. Considering how little you supposedly care, I find it slightly odd that you've been tailing me ever since I left the classroom. Tailing you? Don't be ridiculous. You just happen to be walking by along in the direction I just happened to be glancing in and... Well, come visit my room too if you're making the rounds. You got that? And there she goes. Probably just wanted to say that last bit from the very beginning. The Sundara's lot is not a happy one. Hey! Amane, why is Sachi running around like a chicken with a head cut off? Because she's a girl? Oh, hey, that's supposed to mean. Getting pretty big for your britches these days, little Mizzy. My britches fit just fine. By the way, I think you forget sometimes, but I'm older than you, remember? Alright, you ready? Yes, let's get right to it. Please follow me. Do come in. Yeah. This is the first thing that catches my eye is a large locker, similar to the one Sachi uses as storehouse in the classroom. It's also the only thing that catches my eye. There's not much else in the way of distinctive personal touches here. Minimalist if you put it nicely, plain if you don't. But personally, I'm just grateful it isn't some frilly abomination full of stuffed animals and overpowering scented candles. In regards to my stuffed animal collection, I have an assortment inside the locker. You might think I actually asked. Incidentally, this would be the very first time I've had a man in my room. That a fact. Come to think of it, I haven't even poked my head in Sachi's room before. In other words, you would be the first man, Kasami-san. Try not to put it like that where other people can hear you. Michiru and company could misunderstand again. Understandably in this case. I suppose you're right. I'll have to be careful. So once you're back in your room, what's the further order of business normally? Well, I expected no different from your own. Right, let me rephrase that. The first order of business after you change out of your uniform. You've improved, Kasami-san. At what? Also, couldn't you have gotten changed before I came over? Well, today I found myself rather occupied with cleaning. And why did you have to do that today in particular? A very good question. Come to think of it, why did I? If you don't know the answer, I doubt anyone else will. Well then, the next step in my daily routine would be to study until it's time to prepare dinner. After changing into her usual clothes, if the term can even apply to a maid uniform, in the back, Sachi begins to unpack a range of study materials from a school bag. Alright, don't worry about me. Go right ahead like you always do. Certainly. With that concise answer, Sachi promptly heads over to her desk. First of all... After carefully spreading out her notes and a few textbooks, Sachi begins solving problems at a steady pace. In no time at all, she's absorbed in the task at hand. Even watching from behind, her concentration is almost startling. First off, she goes over the problems we reviewed today a second time. When that's done, she moves methodically through everything we might possibly cover in the next class. Even as she jumps to new material and different subjects, her pen never stops its regular mechanical motion across the notebook paper. If nothing else, it's quite a display of academic prowess. You study this much every day? Yes, our teachers frequently tell me to work hard at your studies, after all. That's your reason? Yes, I suppose so. Is there something strange about that? No, strange would be an overstatement. Although, personally speaking, it seems way too weak a motivation to inspire this kind of effect. That would be all for today's studies. Getting up from her seat without even pausing to stretch, Sachi immediately begins to pack away her books and study aids. Next up would be preparing dinner then. Kasami-san, did you just read my mind? Don't give me that utterly astounded face. You told me your schedule before, remember? Come to think of it, I did. The scales have fallen from my eyes. Been a while since I heard that catchphrase. Anyway, while you're eating dinner, I guess I should. If you'd like, you're very welcome to stay, Kasami-san. That really alright with you? Yes, I did the same thing when everyone came to visit before, and I think it would simplify matters. Do you dislike the idea? No, I don't have any reason to refuse. I'll take you up on that. Thank you very much. I watch idly as Sachi trots off toward the kitchen to prepare the meal. Just now, her smile seemed unusually happy. Was it just my imagination? Cut your carrots, not your bunions, save your marriages, peel his onions. About 10 minutes after Sachi began her preparations, I hear the rhythmical sound of a kitchen knife striking against the cutting board. Within a few moments, she accompanies this steady percussion with a bizarre song, almost certainly another of Makine's compositions. Whack whack. Up to this point, I can't deny she's given herself exactly nothing in the way of legitimate free time. Frankly, her constant motion and eager devotion to her tasks aren't particularly different from what I'd normally see out of her in school. From the smell of things, it's curry, huh? Very perceptive. It is a favorite of yours, isn't it? Yeah. Curry was downright treasured at my old school. It's filling, nutritious, and tends to taste decent no matter who makes it. and apart from the practical appeal, it falls into the category of food I personally prefer. But have I ever declared myself a curry fanatic in front of Sachi? I'm not the sort of enthusiastic gourmand who makes a habit of advertising his taste. Is something the matter? No, it's nothing. Well, there's no need to think too hard about something like that, something that trivial. By the way, Kasami-san, would you mind if I added a little yogurt as seasoning? That's fine. I'm not what you call a picky eater, anyway. As a rule, I eat whatever puts on my plate. I did have that impression beforehand, yes. I suppose that must make things easier for Amane-san as well. Maybe, but she complains it's less satisfying when there's no challenge. That does seem like Amane-san. Sachi keeps up a natural flow of conversation without ever losing focus on the work at hand. Considering how busy she keeps herself, I don't really have many opportunities to make small talk with Sachi, so this sort of idle conversation feels a bit novel. Come to think of it, when did you start cooking for yourself, Sachi? Shortly after enrolling in this school. Out of necessity, in other words. That's correct. Up until then, Auntie had been providing my meals. Auntie, huh? First I've heard of her, but grilling Sachi about her family would probably fall on the tactless side of things. Not that long, then. Seems like you're quick on the uptake. Well, perhaps. Personally, I've always regarded the intake as my specialty. I'm quite proficient at swallowing pills without water. Sure, whatever. Thank you for your patience. In the time it takes for a conversation to run off the tracks into total incoherence, the Sachi-style curry has reached completion. The curry itself is impressively attractive, and I've got no complaints about the smell either. The salad she's added as sort of garnish appears fresh and appetizing as well, so as a whole there's no reason to hesitate. Alright then, I'm going to get right to it. Yes, please help yourself. After briefly bringing my hands together for politeness' sake, I scoop up a spoonful of curry and bring it to my mouth. I can summarize my impressions fairly concisely. It's homemade curry. Rather than the spicy variety you might be served at a restaurant, it's mild, soothing comfort food anyone could eat. But for some reason, Sachi is intently watching me eat instead of starting on her own share. Don't worry, it doesn't seem to be poisoned. Go ahead and eat, Sachi. Yes, of course. Once I point this out to her, Sachi starts to move her spoon as well. Without much in the way of conversation, we quietly carry spoonful after spoonful of curry to her mouth. Among other things, the acidity of the yogurt she's added to the flavoring tempers the aftertaste nicely, so there's no real need to pause. Kasami-san, you already cleaned your plate. So it seems. Before I know it, the reasonably sized helping she served me has vanished altogether. Not to worry, I had plenty of powder. I'll bring you a second helping right away. As Sachi leans forward to take my plate, I reflexively reach out and drop a hand on top of her head. Nice work, Sachi. It's not often that I actually want a second helping. As I lightly ruffle her hair, a visible jolt of surprise runs through Sachi's body. Sorry. Sort of realized I hadn't given you my thoughts or anything. Just a spur of the moment thing. That's quite alright. I was just a little surprised, that's all. In that case, mind if I keep this up a little longer? You did ask for more of my praise, after all. I'm astonished, Kasami-san. You remembered my request? What, you think I've gone senile or something? Not like it's been long enough for me to forget. I suppose not. Sachi finally smiles. After a few more gentle strokes, I lower my hand from her head. Thank you very much, Kasami-san. Well, sure. Although I know it's not much of a reward considering the effort you put into the meal. Not at all. This is far more than I deserve. Deflecting my words in a light tone of voice, Sachi heads back towards the kitchen to refill my plate. Guess you could say that's typical of Sachi, but there's such a thing as being too modest. Next, it's time for my ritual ablutions. I'll be heading to the grand bath. Once the tableware's all but been cleaned away, Sachi announces the next stage of her plans, carefully balancing a rubber duck on top of her head. Yeah, guess that makes sense. Will you be joining me this time, Kasami-san? Thanks for the disturbingly casual invitation, but I didn't bring a towel or a change of clothes. If you're interested, I do have a spare set of male clothes on hand for just such an eventuality. Come to think of it, you mentioned something about that the day you moved in. It seems the primary obstacle has been removed. Is it just me, or is there a much bigger obstacle still remaining here, such as, I don't know, common sense? Sorry, but I think I'll pass. I see. Normally I wouldn't have a reason to refuse, but in this case I feel like you need to carefully rethink when and why to make an offer like that. Certainly, if you say so, Kasami-san, that's what I'll do. Well, at least she listens to reasons, although I'm far from confident she actually understands the underlying problem here. Well then, I'll be returning in about 30 minutes, so please make yourself at home until then. You don't mind leaving me in your room alone? Yes, incidentally, I already know where you keep your underwear. You read my mind yet again? Not exactly. You told me yourself a few weeks ago, remember? Did I? I wonder, did I somehow foresee that you would visit my room, Kasami-san? Fascinating question, but I'm really not sure why you are asking me. Well then, for now I'll be... Hold it. Just as Sachi moves to open the door, I reach out and intercept her hand. Oh? Would you like to join me after all? That's not it. There's someone on the other side of the door. Someone? That said, the only real question is which of the four stooges couldn't contain their curiosity? Alright, listen up. Count to 3, then throw it open with me. Understood. 3, 2, 1. Yeah! As expected, our sudden action prompts a distinctively feminine shriek. Why did the door just... Glancing down, I find a dumbfounded Sakaki sprawled out on her backside a few feet away. And what are you doing out here? Your room is on the 2nd floor, isn't it? What's it to you? I just happen to have something to take care of in the ballroom today, that's all. Why is it exactly that my classmates are such uniformly terrible liars? That's nice. By the way, Sachi is just heading off to the Grand Bath, just in case you are curious. Don't tell me you plan to accompany her. Please, I'm staying here, obviously. Well, of course you are. Apparently somewhat relieved by this news, Sakaki lightly brushes her disheveled bangs back into place. More importantly, Komine-san, Kasami-kun hasn't attempted to coerce you into any questionable behavior, has she? No, as of the moment he's refrained from making any demands of sexual nature. Convinced now? Surprising as it may seem to you, I'm a gentleman. It's not like I was interested in your chivalry or lack thereof in the first place. Seems Sakaki has decided to trust me for the time being, as she abruptly turns away and heads back up the stairs. That girl's got it tough in her own right. Can't be easy going through life with that contrary personality. I believe Sakaki-san is rather similar to Michiru-sama in that regard. She's not far removed from the Tsundere archetype on the most fundamental level. Might have a point there, sadly. I've completed my bath. 30 minutes on the dot after the incident outside her door, Sachi pokes a slightly flushed face back into the room. Got out of there without fainting today, I see. Yes, since Maki-chan and Amanda-san explained to me that there was absolutely no need to count all the way to 10,000. I see. Apparently that brief conversation last night was in fact enough to reset Sachi's bathing behavior to something slightly more sane. And which set of underwear was your favorite? Does the dresser look like it's been disturbed since you left the room? I suppose not. I really don't think that warrants such a disappointed tone of voice. Fighting off a wave of exasperation, I turn my attention from the untouched dresser back to Sachi and find her staring at me with a distinctly nonplussed expression. Something on your mind? Well, at the moment I think I should be the very picture of a rosy-cheeked young woman fresh out of the bath. At the very least you don't resemble a pale old man wheezing after a marathon. What's more, I'm wearing a maid uniform, well known as a reasonable stimulant to the male desire for domination. That you are. In that case, I think it would be entirely understandable for a healthy young man to experience a wave of unspeakable carnal lust right about now. Is that not the case for you, Kasami-san? No, can't say it is. For some reason I feel as though my genes have just been sentenced to extinction. Relax, I'm not saying you're unattractive. Is that so? Yep, like I said with the bath, the problem is timing. Under the right circumstances, the sort of event you're imagining is perfectly possible. This isn't one of those times, that's all. I wonder if I'd be able to discern the arrival of a more appropriate moment. Not to worry. If that time comes, you're not going to be able to miss it, even if you want to.
Now I see. Kasame-san, my conversations with you are always so enlightening.
Although I'm certainly not going to guarantee it'll ever come to that. So, seems like you finally reached some genuine free time. What are you planning to do next?
Go to bed.
What?
Sleep, as they say in English.
Just to be perfectly clear, I wasn't wondering about the meaning of your words.
Then why the vaguely incredulous what just now?
I mean, it's not even 9 p.m. yet. Are you seriously planning to sleep already?
Yes, this is what I normally do in the evening when there's no pressing business. Is turning in early a bad thing?
No, I wouldn't say it's bad, but admittedly I'm hardly an expert on the lifestyle of students these days, but I'm confident there aren't many of them who make a habit of going to bed this early. Especially in the case of young women. From what I've seen, you could add another 12 hours to every night and they still wouldn't have enough time.
Do you not watch television or play games? No time at all for recreation?
I don't watch television except when Mark-chan asks me to join him, and I only play games when someone from the class invites me.
Seriously?
Indeed, I'll even commit to swallowing 1,000 needles if I'm lying.
Frankly, it's still a little hard to believe that she doesn't relax at all, but from what I've seen of this room, she certainly doesn't seem to have much in the way of entertainment-oriented belongings. And Sachi's personality being what it is.
Yes, it really was literally true.
Listen carefully to what you're told and get plenty of sleep at night. That's how a good girl behaves.
In the instant Sachi delivers that oddly phrased sentence with a smile on her face, I finally realize the nature of the unease I've been feeling about her behavior. It's pretty simple really. She resembles me. Organizing her life around diligently following orders, she never allows herself to doubt them, let alone defy those who make use of her. And almost as an extension of that, her private activities are little more than the bare minimum routines of daily existence. The same as me, in other words. Grinning her about recreation is more than a little hypocritical on my part. Looking at Sachi, I've been seeing myself, and the discomfort I felt was a reflection of my uncertainty about my own way of life.
Are you relieved?
Huh? Taken off guard by her question, I responded in an unusually feeble tone of voice.
Recently, you seem to have been somewhat concerned about me, Kasame-san. If your anxiety has been slightly lightened by this visit, I would be happy to hear it.
Well, this is yet another surprise. Didn't think I was so transparent that a schoolgirl could see through me. Alright, I understand that much, but what made you think I was feeling relieved?
Because you seem to be smiling just now.
Smiling?
Yes, it looked that way to me.
I don't remember grinning to myself during that little internal monologue. If anything, the look on my face should have been something like surprise. But apparently something about my face suggested a smile to her. I see. I was right about one thing. You really are an interesting one, Sachi.
In this case, is that a compliment?
I'll let you decide how to interpret it. But at the very least, it's better than boring, right?
Either way, it strikes me as a rather mixed evaluation.
Sachi said relieving my anxiety would make her happy. I'm not sure I understand the exact meaning of those words, but looking back on it, this visit did inspire a mysterious sense of tranquility. Whatever the details, I don't think that can be a bad thing.
Well, I guess I've confirmed the mechanics of your free time policy. But before we wrap things up, let's make arrangements to clear up another matter as well.
The other matter?
Yeah, we're going to see how difficult a question it takes to stump you, remember?
So we were, now that you mention it.
Summer vacation starts the day after tomorrow, so we might as well take care of that fairly soon. What's your schedule like?
Let's see, at present I don't have any major plans.
Does that mean you won't be heading home from the break?
I can't discount the possibility my uncle will ask me to visit, but otherwise I don't believe so.
Yes, a slightly less intimate connection with home might not be too surprising when you're living with a less immediate relative.
Okay, so how about starting right off the bat the day after tomorrow? That work for you?
Yes, that's perfectly alright with me.
Alright, we'll assemble in the classroom at 1 p.m. 2 days from now.
1 in the afternoon the day after tomorrow, in our usual classroom, yes?
Right.
If I'm interpreting this conversation correctly, I just made a promise with you, Kasame-san?
Well, I guess you could put it that way.
Very well, it's a promise then.
Yeah, sure. That's settled. I won't keep you from your sleep any longer. Have a good rest.
Certainly. Wait just a moment and I'll prepare your futon as well.
Thanks anyway, but that's not going to be necessary. I still haven't overcome the constant unease I feel toward myself, or my doubts about my lax new life in this place. But I've learned something new in the last few days. There's someone else like me here. For some reason I feel like this objectively pointless little quiz game I've been entrusted with is going to yield interesting results. Not that I have any concrete reason to believe that, but it's not an unpleasant feeling. By the time I reach my room, I'm almost looking forward to it.
The subject returned to his room, you know?
Looks like he didn't try to pull a sleepover after all.
Oh? Come on, you had to know there was nothing to worry about there, Manny.
Maybe I did, but I still felt the need to worry.
I don't have a freaking clue what that's supposed to mean. You got a pretty dang difficult personality yourself, kid.
So what if I do? That's just how girls are, for your information. So, Sakagi wasn't the only one spying. Well, oh.
That'll be it for this episode, so until next time, take care.